Gymnasium for our fourth and final quarter of the day in what is the 50th CIS Men's Volleyball National Championship. And our panel has expanded by one. I'm Jared Brown, and I'm joined again by Everett DeLorme. And we welcome in a new face, but a familiar one, Dan Gilbert. Dan, how you doing?
I'm excited, Jared. I'm just looking forward to this. This is going to be a great last match of the night, and you guys called the first three. I was able to tune into some of those, and I think this is going to be a great one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really solid day here so far. Just to recap what's happened before we get into this one, it is Trinity Western, Alberta, and Saskatchewan who've just advanced, and now we are here in this all-Ontario final between Waterloo and the number one seed, the host, McMaster Marauders. And Everett, obviously you're the Ontario guy. Dan and I are from out west. What can you tell us about these two teams?
Well, I mean, even though Waterloo's the third seed out of Ontario this year, they're one of the teams that over the past few years has really been one of the more solid clubs in Ontario. We saw them go to the Nationals last year with a second place finish from Ontario. They graduated a whole bunch of starters and somehow are back at the National Championships this year, and it really is a testament to their coaching staff. Shane White, Chris Lawson, one of the best, in my opinion, coaching staffs in the OUA in terms of having two guys who kind of play the role really well. And this is a team that they play really well in system. They got Brandon Koch on the other outside who can really put away balls, and they've got middles who go real hard. But on the same time, on the other side of the net, you got the number one ranked McMaster Marauders, and everyone knows the story of them. They've got 3 straight national medals. They've really been the dominant team. 4 straight OUA titles. They've been the dominant team for the past few years in Ontario, and this team kind of feels, like they have something to prove. They've got 2 bronzes and a silver. They're looking for that gold, and it starts tonight against Waterloo.
Now, Dan, obviously you've been to a couple national championships yourself, both as a worker and as a coach. And have you seen an atmosphere like this here at Burge Gymnasium before?
This is a very unique atmosphere here. This gym feels real condensed almost. The fans are real close to the court, and I'm sure with it being, of course, the host team playing tonight, it's going to get even a little bit more lively and involved. I can tell you it's hot. It's hot in this gym.
It is definitely hot. Yeah, I can agree with you. And the interesting thing about that, it's kind of funny, is yesterday when I was here with the teams practicing, everybody was complaining how cold it was in here, and some of the staff and everything always telling me, oh yeah, the air really circulates around here, it's really quite cold. And I said, well, you wait, come tomorrow when this place is packed, and after playing 3 games, by the time we get to the end of the day, it's going to be hot, and it's going to be loud as the vuvuzelas have kicked into effect.
Is this Hamilton or South Africa?
Are we in Johannesburg for the World Cup? Or are we here at the CIS Men's Volleyball Championships? And it's this is what you look forward to all day, is the last match of the night. Whenever the host gets a chance to play, it's typically the best atmosphere. And the last few years, the host team has, there's been some ups and downs. This one, they come in as the number 1 seed. So it's a very different feel.
Thinking back to 2012 in Queens when they brought the band in for that first night when they played Alberta. It looks like we're going to do an anthem now.
Yes, we are going to quickly step aside for the national anthem. We'll be back with you for the starting lineups after this. I have a feeling it's going to start this loud and only get louder as we go. I don't think it's ever going to quiet down in this one. And we see a good sign of respect there between Chris Lawson and Dave Preston. And I spoke with Chris yesterday, and he said, a lot of the teams, a lot of coaches, they get kind of nervous this time of year. People watching their practices, he said, hey, man, we played Mac so much this year we could practice together if we wanted to because we know each other so well. And they did just play less than a week ago, in the semifinals, the OUA semifinals, and now here they are playing in the opening round matchup. And what a testament to the program for Waterloo, back-to-back national championships. And talking with their coach Chris Lawson, he feels like they're now a program that's really on the rise moving forward.
And I definitely agree. Chris Lawson is actually going to be taking a step back next year, and he's going to be the assistant coach. And I did an interview with him last weekend after they won that bronze medal match. We're moving on to the finals, and he talks about how Shane White will be taking on that head coach role, and he talks about how it's the perfect transition, how Shane is really that good, intense personality that can kind of bring them to the next level. Chris is a very developmental type coach. He is all about system play and stuff like that, and Shane just has that ability to bring a team to the next level. And so I definitely agree with that. I think Waterloo is not only a team to watch for moving forward in the OUA, but in the CIS in general.
So we got the teams taking the court here now, and it will be McMaster who will have the first serve. And I've watched Mac practice 2 days in a row now. I'm now finally excited to see them play here in person. And they've been battling some injuries, right? Something to kind of keep in mind. But it looks like now
they've been battling some injuries, but this is the starting roster that everyone has expected all year long. You've got Koppers back in the starting roster, which we didn't have last weekend for the OUA finals. We have Alex Elliott in the starting roster, which we didn't have either. So I'm excited to see this team roaring and ready to go.
Okay, Dan, Everett, you guys ready to go? Let's do this one here. We're building towards this all day. We finally got our full crew here. I'm looking forward to it. And this is only day one.
This is only day one.
We've got 2 more days to go after this. As Demyanenko will put the first serve into play, but it goes long. And the first point of this quarterfinal goes towards the Waterloo Warriors.
Yeah, Demyanenko putting that spin serve long. Tough way to start the match, but I'm sure they're not too rattled about it as Kyle Young-Jayevsky, the libero for McMaster, comes in, and those vuvuzelas are going to be loud all night long.
McCarthy out of the back row, and Waterloo can't handle it. That's off the arms of Gibson Graham, the setter. And McCarthy, I haven't seen McCarthy in person for a couple of years. He's in way better shape than last time I saw him a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, he's really come along great, and it's just such a testament to Dave and the program he runs here at McMaster. And Jason McCarthy is really someone that you can look at moving forward to the next level.
Koppers with a nice save. Outside to Marr, and Marr with a big swing. Stephen Marr puts his opening point on this match.
And you see with the first 2 attacks from the Marauders just how offensive they can be. Both those attacks going high over top the block.
Now Coker going back to serve. Helped us out earlier with a little bit of trivia there, Everett. Now he's out there playing. It's good to know that the boys are still watching even when they're not playing, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're always looking out there. They're watching. Maybe it's not a great idea to be in the gym. You get gym head. It's a long day, but go home. Instead of watching some Netflix, throw on the CIS championships and listen to the boys all day.
Yeah, take a break from making a murderer and focus on the Volleyball National Championships. As that serve from Aiden Simone goes into the net, and it will be Stephen Marr who's going back to serve. Marr, the OUA Player of the Year, his 4th season of eligibility. 6 set on left side from Aurora, Ontario. Serve, big one into the corner, and Stephen Marr is emotionally charged and ready to go.
He is emotionally charged. He was named top scorer this summer at the 2015 Pan Am Cup with the National B team, and really one of the players to keep on watching as he continues his career past the CIS as he puts that one long.
So Dan, we've seen 3 missed serves now for Mac and 3 points for Waterloo. And that's something that we noticed a lot of in the stats from last weekend as well as missed serving errors.
Well, I think both these teams are very aggressive on their serve, and you're going to see missed serves, and you're going to see aces like we've already seen as well.
Yeah, that's part of the trade-off, right? When you have those aggressive servers, you're going to have some aces, but you're going to have to swallow the misses to go with this. McCarthy goes high off the top of the hands and down, side out McMaster. Much to the delight of, we got what, 1,500 people in here?
Yeah, there's a good number of people. It's just that top section just that upper section on either side that's got a few holes. Other than that, pretty solid crowd as Alex Elliott goes back to serve, and one of the few 5th years on this team. Or the only, actually.
Yes, I believe he is the only 5th-year player on this McMaster team. But as Cope, soft block back into his side, gets a second chance and puts it on the sideline. Braden Cope from Waterloo going back now to serve.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of the right side from Waterloo, especially with the way that Mac tends to commit block a little bit and spread to the antenna. They can really beat them cross court with that shot.
Koch with a spin serve himself. Koppers does a great job just to keep it alive. The one-handed pass, free ball back to the Waterloo side. Nice swing there by McConkey. And McCarthy's just going to try to keep it alive. Free ball coming here to Waterloo. They go McConkey again. It mistimed up, just puts it over. Free ball. Demyanenko high ball outside to Koppers. And Koppers cross court off the tape and wide. And I believe that's the first earned point for, second earned point for Waterloo now. We got a couple good beards from this Waterloo team here too. Kind of the theme of this weekend, the playoff beard. Koch serve taken there by Marr. Great pass, Coker. Back to McCarthy. Soft block onto the Mac side. Coker, Koppers down the line. Braden Koppers with the kill.
You see a really nice job there by Croker as he squared up all the way to the 30 position and set the ball over his left shoulder to the left side. Excellent way to hold the middle block and get an opportunity for your hitter.
You know, Jared mentioned earlier during the Alberta match that Coker and Brett Walsh are probably the only two setters in this tournament that are able to play with their body positioning like that. They can deceive you by facing another way as Coker. That's a funny one going on there.
So Coker kind of got hung up a little bit, got a piece.
Whoa.
That's a tough call.
The question is, Coker did hit it twice in the air. He hit it once. I'm guessing they're saying hit once as a block, and the second was the dig. Difficult to say, but he definitely did touch it twice. Whether it was in the same motion or the same movement, that's where the question is.
It looked like it was this one motion, but ultimately.
And look at what we see Stephen Marr, he obviously, Coach Dave Preston doesn't agree with the call, and Stephen Marr's like, hey, let's just let it go, let's play some volleyball.
Greg Simone, one of the two Simone brothers serving here, and nice find there from Coker Demyanenko. Rally continues, great dig there by the Mac Ribeiro, keeps play alive. Koppers left side, looks to tip it over. But a wall there put up by Cam and McConkey.
I know you're looking down at the roster here, and you're seeing whatever that is, it's Young Jajewski.
Young Jajewski.
Yes.
Okay, well, I would have not got that from that.
That's Polish for you. When you play in a sport like volleyball, you have to deal with Polish names.
Yeah. Nice pass there by Koppers. Coker to Demyanenko, and that ball, I mean, we talked about the numbers, right? Obviously, we're all aware what they all mean. But that's essentially a 55 in the middle. He's hitting the ball so high.
You know, it's similar to like what we were seeing with Goranson earlier, where Walsh was having to set him in such a higher window that it looks almost like a meter ball.
Koppers back to serve. Passed up there nicely. They go back row to Koch, and that's into the net. 8-7, McMaster leads.
Well, we see the decision was right to go to the C-ball there. They had the isolation one-on-one.
Koppers will continue to serve, and Koppers in his third year, 6'7" outside, Georgetown, Ontario, economics student. Go back to Koch again. And this time he finds the floor. You can definitely see who Waterloo's main man is in these early points here. We're tied at 8. Now it'll be Jordan McConkey, the third-year middle from Stratford, Ontario. And it's such an interesting dynamic here. I mean, most of these rosters are Ontario-based as Marr puts that ball down, but so many of these guys here played against each other, played with each other, former teammates, club, high school, provincial team, all that stuff, and it's such a great dynamic. This is our first battle we've had where teams in the same province.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Woolley especially, he's been there for 5 years now at Waterloo, and been one of the top flight liberos. Not only in the OUA, but in the country the past 5 years. He's had to deal with this MAC squad the entire time, and likewise they've had to deal with him. Coker squeaks one through there.
Coker kind of misses the dump a little bit, but it squeezes through the block, and you see he comes down to kind of look in his face like, hey, I got away with one there. Much better serve from Demyanenko on that one than we saw the first time through. Mac has opened up a 2-point advantage, 10-8. With Danny continuing to serve, and that one goes into the net. Much to the delight of the Waterloo section in the back corner there.
Interesting you talk about the matchups and just comparing the two setters, even Coker and Gibson Graham. just two players that probably coming out of the club system couldn't be different. You know, Coker, a very highly regarded setter, and I'm not sure that I even recognized Graham as a setter.
I'm from Ontario, and I haven't really seen much of him, but he's been doing a pretty good job tonight and throughout this entire season.
I think a great testament to Shane White and his work with setters too.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Oh my! Stephen Marr. No early jitters so far for Stephen Marr, I would say. He has put down a couple pretty hard to the floor. We're going to see a replay here on this one. What a big-time swing from Stephen Marr.
That one is well inside the attack line, and I mean, as I'm sure you've coached against Stephen Marr a number of times, and as have I, and he's been doing that a long time.
Yeah, he's been making a living off that one for a long time. As that ball, they're being called, they're asking for it to be outside the aerial, but play continues, and now Max on the net. And here's kind of a funny dynamic to this, guys, and probably something, you know, we've all seen different levels. How often is your middle the smallest guy in the front row?
You know what? And I remember a few years ago once Denny and Alex were on this team, and they had McCarthy and Koppers and Dave Preston talking about how they're different that way, where you got 6'8", 6'9" trees on the outside, whereas you're smaller and faster in the middle, and that's what both Alex Elliott and Denny Demyanenko are. They're not as big, but they do a great job at closing blocks and getting there.
Well, and the trade-off to that obviously is if you have huge guys on the pins, you can be more aggressive and take some chances, right, and commit with guys and take some risks because you know you have a big block on the outside there to bail you out.
And I mean, regardless, even if Alex Elliott is 6'5", 6'6", he got up on that one and chucked it down. So it's definitely not a physicality thing that they're missing in the middle.
Let's be fair, these guys aren't small, right? They're just shorter than the guys beside them at the net. And both Demyanenko and Elliott are both great jumpers as well. You go middle there, nice dig by Marr. Go back to McCarthy, and McCarthy, great strap there, and that goes off the backboard. Yep. And that's I think something that, depending what angle you were at, you might not have seen, but the ball definitely changed directions there.
Looked like it was just enough to change the spin on it just a little, and I was about to say something when the referee Jason blew his whistle, and we see Waterloo call their first time out as they trail 14-10 in this first set.
So, Coach Lawson wanted to slow the momentum of McMaster here a little bit. And McMaster, we talked about how much Alberta came as advertised when we watched them earlier. I think Mac is living up to the billing of everything we've heard. If we're on the western part of the country, not having seen them play too much, you know, they're definitely living up to the expectations.
Oh, for sure. We as we mentioned, we see the physicality that they bring to the game, and we see some athleticism with the setting position as well. One of the things that hopefully as this match goes on, you already see it a little bit right now with the serve, a little bit more of a controlled serve rather than taking a rip on it, but we've seen a lot of missed serves in this first set, and you'd think after just playing here not so long ago, the exact same atmosphere basically, that they might be more comfortable, but it seems like those early nerves are still showing up.
And it's interesting, Dan, that you mentioned missed serves, because in our first couple games, it was the float serves that were sailing long. The missed serves that we're seeing here are the ultra-aggressive kind. These guys are going after it, missing long, missing into the net. But the trade-off is when they are in, they're very difficult to handle. It will be Marr. We'll see what he does here out of the timeout with a 4-point advantage. Goes after that one. Great job by Woolley. Solid pass. Gibson there. Kept alive on the Max side. Coker. Back to McCarthy, tips it there. Woolley's there with the save. Gibson goes pipe to Simone. And that one goes into the net. Maybe just a little bit too fast on that play to Simone.
And you know what? We've seen this kind of all year long with Waterloo as their super good system, and their guys can put away the ball pretty much consistently between the Simones and Coke on the outside. But once they start playing teams like Mac that can really put the pressure on them and play with them in terms of system and defensively, that's what they really start breaking down, because unfortunately they just don't have the athletes and the skill and the talent at the end of the day to compete with the McMasters.
Dan, what do you think with this Braden Coke here coming out so far? It looks good early on.
Yeah, I think it's one of their weapons that I think they want to try and use more. I don't know that they've gotten him into a good rhythm yet.
Coker outside to Koppers, finds the sideline. Great swing there by Brandon Koppers, and McMaster now leads 16-11 at our first technical timeout.
Yeah, you know, Andrew Coker is already running the offense the way he wants to, just like we saw Brett Walsh, the CIS Player of the Year, do that in his match. Andrew Coker is making it fun, he's making it creative, and his hitters are having a great time with it.
Yeah, and similar to Walsh, we're seeing that body control of Coker, right? Not necessarily always the textbook, traditional, look for a setter, and he's moving the ball around, moving those blockers around, and he's still finding his hitters. It's impressive to watch.
Yeah, and then when you have hitters like you do for McMaster on the outside, you've got, whether it's Brandon Koppers or Stephen Marr, or Jason McCarthy, you've got a lot of options. So you could basically just put it up for a window in anyone, and they're just going to swing away.
Be interesting to see the mentality here with a 5-point lead as we get down the stretch with McMaster. Do they still go aggressive with the serving, or do we see, as Mar did, maybe throw one in where you're taking something off of it here and there? My personal opinion as a coach at this stage is that you go for it. You really want to try and extend that lead, but at the same time you don't want to be careless. You don't want to let Waterloo back into it by ruining your own momentum.
Right, absolutely. But we've had this discussion many times before. Is it almost better if you're going to have the team side out by giving them a missed serve and not letting them get a kill or get into a rhythm on their side out, right? So with a 5-point lead, you've technically scored enough points to win this set as long as you side out. So you could make the argument, hey, keep bombing away here and try to keep them off their rhythm.
Exactly. Don't let them get any momentum going.
There's many trains of thought to this game, and that's what makes it so much fun. Is out of the timeout, it'll be Elliott, the only 50-year player on this McMaster team. Jump float, taken there by Simone. Back to Coke. Great dig by Elliott. And what a find, Coker to Demyanenko. Awesome play there from McMaster.
And Coach Dave Preston is fired up. He's got the fist going on that one. I think they really like in transition being able to run the middle like that. It's something that brings a lot of energy to their team.
You know what? I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not, because I've been seeing that play for years and years and years between the Coker and Demyanenko. I mean, they played together at St. Michael's College from Toronto. I used to see Coker, no word of a lie, I've seen Coker set Demyanenko on a 31 from the baseline in one, and that's the type of confidence they have in that partnership. They're real good friends off the court. They played for years for the Crush Volleyball Club, and who everyone knows is probably one of the most successful clubs in the history of Canadian club volleyball, and now they're getting it done on the CIS level.
No, I mean, I think we can say they are the most successful club probably of all time. That the run that Crush team was on is something that's going to be tough for anybody to match going forward in the future. And a great save there by Marr, keeps the play alive. Woolley sets it up. Gibson goes middle to McConkey, and Coker can't handle it. Just one thing, Dan, I'm sure you can appreciate this. I love seeing it right now here as a volleyball fan and watching it here on two particular days in May. In 2011 and 2012, I didn't love it as much, but
you have to bring it up, don't you?
Hey, Everett's been bringing up some other, even deeper than that, which I thought we were past. He's bringing up Ottawa 2009. I thought we left that one in the trunk.
I hadn't thought about that for a long time.
No,
Jeff.
I know, neither had I. And I want you to share my pain, Dan. Let's all get in the same boat.
On the flip side, my Ottawa Mavericks team did play yours in the pool play of 2012 on that second day to figure out who's going to finish first in our pool. So,
and he did bring up the fact that we won that one. I didn't even have to say it.
What? You guys did. Kenny Rooney was on that squad?
Kenny Rooney, was on that team. Kevin Faulkner, Luke Kerr, all those guys. As we see Demyanenko, and again, just a fantastic find from Coker. And I think the point, and it's to be made again, is that you don't just get that from a great middle hitter and a great setter. No. It's from years and years and years of trusting each other in those situations.
It's a push play. He's right on that. That 4-5 seam, 3-4 seam. Goodness gracious! And the back row, back quick like that is unbelievable.
Gibson goes to the dump, but Koppers is all over it, and it's now an 8-point advantage for McMaster, 20-12, and they're feeling pretty good about this opening set so far.
And I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, they lost two games in the season, but if you look at the box scores, I think Young Jayevsky was the only starter on the court. They weren't really letting guys rest. Jason McCarthy puts one in the deep corner there, and 9-point lead for McMaster in this first set.
And how much fun? Let's just be honest. How much fun are they having right now? That's something that for any volleyball player, coach, young, old, school, club, university, just a testament of something that you want to think about is they're just having a good time out there. And it helps when you're up 21-12 and playing at home. But the more fun you can have, the better you're going to play. It's just pretty simple.
Absolutely. They've got a great bench here. They've got guys like Sayar Karimi, who's you'll see him maybe he's the guy who's maybe 5 foot. Yet he brings a lot of energy, he brings a lot of passion to the squad, and it's a squad that really works together from the get-go, and it's an entire team, and I think we see that from the best teams in the country often. We saw it with Trinity Western earlier today. It just looks like they're having a lot of fun playing together, and we're seeing it once again here from Mac.
Yeah, I think that was the one element that was maybe missing from our last game, right? We didn't quite see as much of that from the other two teams. A little bit from UNB, but now we're getting back to that style here where really Mac is playing phenomenal. They're enjoying themselves on the court, and that's what this is all about. As Coke makes a good job to keep it alive. Free ball coming here from Simone. Youngjiewski with the pass. Coker, and just changes that angle a little bit, finds Demyanenko, and he's having himself a great first set.
Well, I think if you're a Waterloo, you really want to just realize that there's a lot of volleyball left, right? And I think that they've kind of, Mac has taken them out of this game, and they got to realize that they can still bring themselves back into it. They just have to think back to some of the successes that they've had against Mac this season, going 5 sets earlier in the season in league play. Even though they lost 3 straight in the semifinals, they were up 24-22 in the third set, had a couple match points, or set points, and let it slip away. But, they have the ability to contend with this Mac team, and they just need to kind of believe at this point.
Well, every match we've had so far today, we've seen a better effort from the team from first set to second set, right? And this one's a little bit different because they play each other so much, so a slightly different variable. But if you're Waterloo, you just got to weather the storm here. Okay, just keep plotting through it, like you said. A couple points like that will help, and try to keep it close into the teens, and then maybe have some fortunate plays in the 20s.
Well, I was kind of wondering why Chris Lawson would call that timeout. You're down 22-11 and you call a timeout, but Waterloo's come out here and they've started gaining momentum. They've grabbed a few plays, three points in a row, and really building towards that second set.
Greg Simone with the serve. Great set there to Koppers. Woolley with the dig. Gibson on the run, bumps it outside to Aiden Simone, and the 3-man block to Demyanenko. Koppers and Coker shut the door. 23-14.
And another thing to touch on that, this game isn't over. Let's just think back to a few years ago in Calgary in the CIS semifinal with McMaster and Western, and McMaster had beat Western, I think it was 9 times in a row, hadn't beat them in a year and a half, and McMaster was up, it was 1-1, and they were up by quite a bit in the third set, and next thing I know, I'm done talking with Kerry McDonald from, Calgary Dinos and the sitting team, and Western's won that third set, and they took the fourth and upset McMaster in the semis. So no matter how many times you've played a team, no matter how many times you've lost to a team, there's always that possibility to come back in and find that momentum.
And if you're Waterloo here, I think you're just kind of looking at, guys, can we maybe get to 20 before they get to 25, right? Try to make a mini game out of this, steal some momentum back to their side a little bit.
Right, and when you change sides, whether you win or lose a set, you want to be able to talk about outplaying the opponent down the stretch, even if you lost the set. And right now with a missed serve like that, they're not going to be able to say it.
We have a substitution here checking in for McMaster. Number 12, Andrew Richards, in his second year from London, Ontario. He's going to serve for Demyanenko.
And Richards is just a testament to the depth of this Mac squad. He's coming in, was the libero for the junior national team this past summer. Actually plays left side for this squad. And how comfortable can you feel being Dave Preston that have a guy like that coming in off the bench in replace for either Mar or Koppers?
Yeah, I think every coach in the country would love to have a serve like that off the bench. It's a great depth. Attack there in the middle. Sails long from Kothop, and with that, McMaster takes the opening set of this fourth quarterfinal, 25-15, and looked pretty impressive along the way.
Absolutely, and that's what we've seen from Mac all year long. This is, and in all reality, they've known that they were going to be playing at 8 p.m. on March 10th for a long time, since last year, so this is the moment that they've been preparing for.
Yeah, the whole year you knew you were playing in this match, right? They're the only team in the country that in September knew when they were playing, right? And what the situation would be. They didn't know who they'd be playing, obviously.
Nope.
They knew when they'd be playing. We're gonna quickly step aside here and toss it over to Amanda Weldon, who's got some facts for us courtside.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt. So much strength coming from this McMaster side right now. If you look at the lineup, you see, I'm just looking up the stats right now. Stephen Marr and Danny Demyanenko both having 4 points up on the stat. No doubt here, you can see the strength in this team, and not only the strength there, but also the strength coming from the bench here. You have Brendan Koppers, and you also have Jason McCarthy. That's a lot to work with for Andrew Coker here as the setter. If Waterloo is hoping to combat any side of that here, we're definitely going to need to see a lot more from McConkey, which means a lot more servicey passing, as well as Brendan Coke getting in the lineup. So definitely some strength from the McMaster side. They for sure found their mojo. If Denny Demyanenko and Stephen Marr can keep up with the strength, they're in good shape. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks very much, Amanda. We've got a rousing rendition of musical chairs here. And one of the guys is actually injured and he's on a crutch, and he's made it here now to the final two as we have a gentlemanly handshake to see who's going to come and take the title here in the game of musical chairs. But guys, it was a great start right off the hop for McMaster. They came out, they were on fire, and they just kept the momentum going all the way through, winning that first set 25-15.
Yeah, that's what we've seen from McMaster all year long, and like we said, and we're looking at the stats here, much like in the last game, only one person really scoring for Waterloo, and that's Braden Koch. Sorry, he's got 4 kills on 8 attempts, but McConkey has 2 kills, Greg Simone has 1. Other than that, they got nothing.
Yeah, 7 kills. It's going to be tough to win a set at this level if you only get 7 kills. McMaster doubling it with 14. And just one thing that's pretty interesting about these stats here as I look at it, Brandon Koppers actually in the minus in that set. 2 kills, 3 errors. I wouldn't have thought that based on what we watched.
Yeah, he swung a few out of bounds. I think at this point he's just getting back into rhythm. We didn't really see him play last weekend in the OUA finals. He's been nursing an injury, of course. He's been nursing injuries all year long. He had a very, heavy load of a summer with the junior national team. They played 3 events, which is unheard of for Canadian junior national teams. So he's been rested the past week, so he's probably just shaking the rust off, getting back into things at the moment.
Well, if you're Waterloo coming into this second set, I really hope that they go back to having a little bit more of a simple offense where they were really spreading out early on. They had some success going to the right side. I think they tried to force the middle quite a bit in that first set. Didn't really have a great connection with it. I'd like to see them try and keep going with it, but let's relax a little bit and build that connection. And because when you look at their numbers, I think Koch on the outside, they're 38% efficiency. If we can find a way to give him more attempts, he's going to help you out in this set. As a team, they were only 8% efficient, right? So you got to find a way to feed your guys that are going to put the ball away.
Yeah, not going to win matches getting 7 kills and making 5 errors in the process.
So it will be first serve of this second set to the Waterloo Warriors, and it will be their setter, Gibson Graham from Markham, Ontario, a rec and leisure student at Waterloo. Jump float taken there by Koppers. Nice find there to Elliott in the middle. Dug alive there by Woolley. Simone left side through the hands of Marr and down. And the nice thing with this Waterloo team is pretty much anyone who passes the ball in a yellow jersey, Simone, and pretty much anyone hits on the left side is named Simone, and you can work your way through it.
Makes it nice and easy.
Give me Simone, right? That's give me Simone. Gibson. Pass there by Koppers. Elliott again, and through the block of Simone and down. Side out. And they really don't look like brothers at all, which is the other interesting dynamic to it.
A bit of facial features, but one is, bright red, fiery hair. The other one's more dark and serious. But Greg Simone, he's someone we've seen the past 4 years play at Windsor. He made the transfer this year for a master's program. And really, without him, I'm willing to say that Waterloo isn't here.
The heart and soul of this team as a fifth-year player. Koch, great job going up and wiping that one off the block. And that's something that, against a big blocking team, you're always going to have that type of shot, right? It gives you more to use off of, and a great play there by Koch. Now it will be Simone going back to serve. It's Aiden from London, Ontario.
A little bit of a discussion happening at the stands here. I think McMaster thought that Waterloo got away with a double contact on that last setup.
Interesting.
Or maybe they're talking about just keeping the bench
I think there's too many guys in the warm-up area. Yeah, I think they had some staff that was standing in the warm-up area, which, as Dan and I, we've made mention of many times, you can't lose control of that warm-up area in a match. Things can get crazy. Simone serve there, passed out by Youngijewski. Back to Marr, off the top of the block. Pick up there by Gibson. Woolley, nice set out of the libero position. But Elliott is there to close the door on Greg Simone.
And themes for the day, we've got the 2013 Canada Games, we've got that 2012 recruiting class, and finally we've got liberos who really take a life of their own, and Eric Woolley, he's a perfect example. Former CIS libero of the year. He's really been one of the mainstay liberos in the province for the past 5 years, and a veteran guy will really bring his team to the next level and put his team on his back if he needs to.
Nice combination there. McMaster kind of bid on that middle set and it left things open for Simone out of the back row. Now going back to serve for the Warriors is Trevor Kothap. third year from Ottawa. Another example, an Ottawa guy.
Ottawa Fusion Volleyball Club right there.
Back to McCarthy, and those types of swings, that shot, there's just not much you can do, right? You just sort of roll the ball back under the net and say, good point for you.
Yeah, he went right over top of Simone there. That's what you can do. And you know what? It was a little bit tight of a set, but because it was quick enough and he got up fast enough, you can do that.
When you're 6'9", you can pretty much do anything.
Like
block the ball like that.
Nowhere to go, really. Demyanenko and McCarthy were both there. Didn't have much of a shot. I guess really all he had left is a tip over top. You know, with the big block there, there's going to be a little bit of a hole when you have two guys up. But as far as hitting, there wasn't much to look at. Short serve, takes McConkey out of the play. Gibson bumps it outside to Simone. Simone off the block. I thought that was out, but it finds the sideline. Pretty good shot there from Simone to make something out of it, and there really wasn't much there, but it clips the sideline.
That ball was on the ground much faster before any of those players were. Greg Simone hit it hard, and it hit the ground even harder.
Continuing to serve is Elliott, the captain and 5th year of this McMaster team. Back to Cope, and just slightly mishit.
That was quite the athletic play there by Jason McCarthy, ducking out of the way and doing a complete somersault.
Sometimes, guys, getting out of the way is just as athletic as getting in the way.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And now that was the play there for McCarthy, just doing his best to get out. That ball was mishit. Cope really unleashed on it, just didn't have any topspin on it, just phased right out of bounds. 6-3, Mac leads. Simone with the pass. Gibson back to Cope. This time tries to tip it over, but doesn't make it over the net.
It's those hesitation plays that you can't make, right? On that ball, you got to swing away. Yeah, you just put the last one out. Go again and again. You're not going to score by tipping a ball like that, especially telegraphing it the way you just did. Swing on that ball, and it's good things are going to happen.
Elliott's jump float taken by Simone, almost goes into the basketball hoop. Woolley steps in to set it. Simone deep tip down the line, takes Coker out of the play. Elliott's going to step in, goes back set to Koppers, and I agree with that call. That ball was spinning a lot.
Mar's going to go over there, he's going to go over there and say the same thing happened on the other side of the court and it wasn't called, right?
That's a fair point.
Definitely has a bit of an argument there. Don't disagree that set there from Elliott was a double. Came out pretty ugly. As now it'll be interesting to see how Waterloo can cope now with Coke in the back row. No, they don't run that C ball as efficiently as other big teams do. And
yeah, they're going to have to make sure to try and keep things close with Coke in the back row. They trail by 4 after that kill from Mar out of the back row. It was a valiant effort to try to dig it there on the Waterloo side, but just weren't able to come up with enough. And now going back to serve is McCarthy. Mac leads 8-4 in this second set. And that one was in by a couple feet. And Mac just playing at a high level and Waterloo unable to keep up. 9-4 is the score here in the second set.
Well, it's tough when you don't stay with the team and you let them get too much of a lead. The more physical team usually starts to run away, and that's what's happening right now. Is that you let Mac get a 2, 3, 4 point lead, and they're just going to be more and more aggressive. Coker's going to just be more and more creative and just try and showcase. And I have a feeling that this second set might be pretty quick unless Waterloo can bring it back within about 3 points in the next few series.
Yeah, someone's going to need to step up for Waterloo, where it's Woolley on the defensive end or one of the Simones on the outside or maybe even Jordan McConkey down the middle. Someone's got to be able to step up and make a few big plays here. That's all it's going to come down to. If they can start executing, not even on the same clip as Mac does, but at a better click, they're going to start forcing a few errors from the Marauders, and they're going to get back into this game.
So out of the timeout, Mac leads 9-4. McCarthy with the serve. He can be dangerous on the service line. That one sails long. Good leave there by Simone. 9-5, and we'll see here out of the timeout. Can Waterloo gain some momentum back onto their side? Can they steal some points back here and try to get this game close by 11, 12 points? Can they get it back to even? Because like Dan mentioned, if they let this get away from themselves, Mac's just too good. They're going to just unleash everything on the attack and the serve. Good serve there from Simone. Coker goes back to McCarthy, and that's just, Coke's got to stay on that ball, right? He gave up on it way too early. I think it was out of bounds. Need a bit more effort following that ball to the sideline, because that's a ball he could have done.
Absolutely. You just gotta grind out every ball at this point. Simone puts in a fantastic serve. They're a bit out of system, and you just got to go for it. Look where he's playing defense right in the middle of the court. Got to stay perimeter and just go for the ball.
Simone on the left side. Great scoop there from MacArthur to keep it alive.
Oh.
Actually puts Waterloo in trouble. And then it's Demyanenko who puts it down. 11-5 now, the lead for McMaster.
And you know what? It's plays like that where you see Mac get really scary, right? Because they've got such a big outside team, and then they're making big scrambly digs like that and getting the ball over. It's not pretty. You know, they're not in system, and they're just battling away. And when you see a team as physical as this and as aggressive as this, playing defense like that, it's big. And Stephen Marr puts that one over on the overkill, and Waterloo's doing everything they can just to keep that ball alive, and Mac's taking full advantage.
And that can become very frustrating, and I think that's what Coach Lawson is trying to prevent right now. Is you have some real good hustle plays to extend the rally there and get it back into play, only to get a ball crushed on you, right? So it definitely is in Waterloo's best interest to call the timeout right now and try and get this back under control.
So, you know, our sport here is a beautiful sport where by you playing your best, sometimes you don't let the other team even get a chance to play their best, right? And I think I haven't seen Waterloo. I don't have a basis here to really go off of, but my guess is that Mac is just not letting Waterloo get comfortable. They're just doing too many things that puts Waterloo in trouble. And, you know, there's a couple points here and there, you know, missed dig, missed pass, that kind of thing. For the most part, just overmatched in every spot.
Yeah, you know, Mac's at home in their castle. They've shut that door. They filled the moat, and it doesn't matter what Waterloo throws at them. They're not going to get in.
Not right now with a 7-point lead, that's for sure, as Koppers is on the service line. 12-5 is the lead. McMaster looking every bit the part of the #1 seed in the country. Gibson to McConkey, kept alive on the Mac side. Koppers steps into set Mar. Roll shot, and that catches Waterloo off guard. Now an 8-point lead.
And Mac right now is just having fun. They're executing. They're firing on all cylinders. Let's hope this is a good, you know, memento for this, you know, I'm losing my words here again, Jared. It's been a long day. But, you know, a good identifier how they're going to play this weekend.
Free ball coming here to McMaster. Koppers, good pass. Coker goes pipe right back to Koppers. And what a great run that is. And it's just, it literally looks like practice right now for McMaster. They're doing anything they want, and they're not getting much resistance from Waterloo.
And you see on that the engagement from McMaster, that's what they really need to focus on as they continue in the second set and the next set as well, and however long this match goes. They want to stay engaged and keep on clicking. What you don't want to do is play it down to a level that's still going to win this match, but maybe not prepare you for tomorrow.
No, yeah, so far they've stayed on task. They haven't gotten complacent. They're playing well on defense, and the transition like that, it's pretty impressive.
Well, an interesting thing for McMaster to consider is that, you know, they were pushed by Saskatchewan last year at Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
Saskatchewan gave them a good game, and that Sask team, you know, by all accords, is probably a bit of a stronger group this year than they were last year. So there's a lot of familiarity there, as this MAC roster is, you know, the same that Sask would have played against. And I'm sure Sask is confident in that matchup. And with not playing well earlier today, you got to wonder how much better you'd think Saskatchewan will be tomorrow.
Right, and I just saw the end of that match, you know, with Saskatchewan playing. I thought they finished with actually really good energy, pretty crisp, so they're dangerous tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what's awaiting for the winner of this game, and right now the winner of this game looks to be McMaster as they lead 16-6 in this second set after taking the opener, and things are looking solid here. The hometown team, the crowd, the fans are excited.
Yeah, for sure. McMaster, it's really fun to watch when you see Coker go up, and he just gives you a different look, much like Brett Walsh. And you know, I feel like we're going to be making this comparison a lot this weekend of Brett Walsh and Andrew Coker, because let's be honest, you were in that age class, you coached with me. Andrew Coker was the big guy coming out of club. You know, he got the American scholarship. He went down to UCSB for a year, and when he did that, all of a sudden Brett Walsh is setting for Alberta, and he's winning a national championship, and that's all he's done since then, right? So really, you've seen that transition of Coker is the big deal coming out of club in that setting class, and of a really strong class, and Brett Walsh is kind of definitely not looked over, but not seen as strong, and now Brett Walsh has really established himself as maybe the top setter, probably, you could say it right now, the top setter in the country.
And I think one of the things that we, you know, should Mac stay on course and make it through to tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's going to be interesting is how they deal with just some more physicality along the net in terms of the block from Saskatchewan, but especially if they do get to the point where they're playing against Alberta. You know, some of the stuff that they're running right now may not be good enough.
Absolutely. Now we'll see.
Well, that's such the beauty of this tournament is each day the difference the matchups present into what you want to do. And right now, McMaster, they're the most impressive performance we've seen from a team, I would say, today. I mean, Alberta looked really good, Trinity looked really good, Sask had to battle to win, and I think Mac is basically doing what they want, but how much of that is the familiarity and what the challenges the other team is presenting, right? So it's hard to really say after one day who the team to beat is. You don't really know really till the end, because everything changes each day. As that passes off the net from Young Jeski, they go outside to Mar, and Mar with the roll shot. And then, man, what do you do there, right? If you're Waterloo, you're back, you've been banging away all day, it comes back with a roll shot, and it puts you in a pretty tough spot.
Yeah, just a great touch on the ball there, and you know, you can tell the skill emanating from Stephen Marr. He's not just one of those big banger guys. He's a big banger who has, you know, he can pass, he can play defense, he can do it all, really.
Yeah, and it's, earlier we alluded to, you know, a guy like Shearhorn about how the national team is excited to see some of these players. Obviously, Mar is a part of that group where if these guys continue to improve at the next level, we have some real good prospects in the system coming forward, and we're going to need it because there's going to be a serious turnover on that national team as guys after this cycle are going to probably look to move on from the team. Just, you know, moving on with their lives, retiring, and be done with that national team. As Woolley got a good piece, but not enough, and Elliott gets the kill in the middle.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that national team. You're probably seeing Toon Van Langveld, you know, retire those shoes. Freddie Winters is definitely looking towards retirement. Dallas, maybe even Gavin, Dan Lewis. But at the same time, I still am very confident with that next generation of guys coming up. We saw Dan Jansen Van Dorn jump in Edmonton, and he was, you know, really the lone bright spot in what was let's just forget about that weekend altogether.
A tough day to finish off there for sure.
Up there with the national championships of 2009.
Oh, and that's a missed set there from Gibson.
A couple unfortunate series for Waterloo. They had a good slowdown on that one ball that Mar tried to go fast and direct. They had a slowdown, transition to the ball to the net, and then they didn't get an attack out of it. They had to give a free ball left over. So those are the plays that you can't make, or you've got to make against a team like that.
Ooh,
Mar looks to take something off of it. And I wonder, I'm curious if that's by design or just by the toss, but I'd love for him here at 19-8 just keep pounding away.
Yeah, I think that toss looked real low. He didn't really jump into it. You can tell it's, you know, kind of off kilter right off the bat. He just tried to put in not even a 50% thought. That was more of a 10% shot. That's why it landed in the net.
Koppers hard off the block of Coke and wide. 20-9 now, McMaster leads. We're going to be tough, but we're almost at a pizza game here, guys. Coke with a nice swing there on the right side. You can see, I mean, there's some high end here from Braden Coke for sure, and they just need to find a way to let him be a factor in this set. I mean, that at 20-10, you know, it's basically irrelevant.
No, that last set and run and attack against the big block was well done. They executed well. It's just a matter of doing that consistently. Here's a question for you as bench bosses. At what point do you start to consider fatigue factor on the MAC side of the court and maybe start to get some rest for some of your guys, especially guys coming off injuries, and recognizing that you have to play 3 days in a row here to win a championship, and not only that, you don't know how many sets you're going to play tomorrow. You don't know how many sets you're going to play on Saturday, right?
You know, at this point, I would tend to say I'm sticking with my guys. We're at the national championships. I'm not looking to give guys experience necessarily. I'm looking to win. You know, I'm going to be playing a team in Saskatchewan potentially. Well, it's Saskatchewan nonetheless. They had to play 5 sets. You know, they didn't have a great matchup. I want my guys feeling good. I don't want them getting relaxed. I don't want them getting lackadaisical. I don't want them getting, you know, complacent on the bench. I want them playing every single point so that they're ready to play for the next game.
Right, and the question would be, is there a chance that you fatigue? Is there a chance of injury?
Right.
Or the other question would be, how much do you want to show? How much more do you want to show?
True. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think the two guys would be Koppers and Elliott, right? Just based on them potentially being, you know, maybe not 100%. Only they know and Dave knows what they're at. But you know, do you really lose much at this point right now, if you swap one of those other guys in, does it change things too much? You know, it's an interesting dynamic to think about.
I mean, considering you won an OUA championship and beat this very team in the semifinals last week with, you know, Craig Ireland playing and Andrew Richards playing, and, you know, they've got a lot of the depth on the bench, but at this point you're up 23-11, you've got a 12-point spread. You're not really expending much energy, I don't think.
And that's, again, if a coach makes that change, good on you, right?
Yeah.
If you don't make it, hey, good on you, right? There's no right or wrong, and that's what's so great about it is there's nothing. Take the San Antonio Spurs, for example, right? Rest guys all the time during the regular season, right? Give guys night off, they still go out and win. I think Mac has the talent on their bench, on their roster here. They could probably make a couple of those changes. And now we're just going to get, and this is somewhat of it, right? I mean, you're going to take Koppers out. And this is not to help you win the set, right? It's 23-12.
He's a pretty good passing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
let's throw in the libero from the junior national team this summer to pass and play defense, and the fact they can hit a pretty mean pipe ball as well, does great things. I don't know if you guys saw Andrew Richards when he played for London City, or the Forest City Volleyball Club or the London Fire, whichever one it is, but definitely it was a real pleasure. I remember coaching that 18U squad, and as a 2-year underager, he went off on us one set and won it all by himself, and that was impressive watching a 16U do against one of the top 18U teams in the country.
Yeah, a good duo on the left side, Richards and Jake McNeil, when they were playing for London Fire together. They just didn't get much help from anybody else on that squad that year in Nationals at Edmonton. The two of them were phenomenal, and they had a couple big middles, but just couldn't quite make it to that last day there.
Bryce Marcuson and Aiden Roos were both on that squad as well. Marcuson is actually playing with the Mohawk Mountaineers this weekend at the CCAA National Championships out in Vancouver.
So you have set point opportunity number 2 here. Coker trying to find Elliott, but just took that one a little bit too low, and I think that's a good call.
That's the first poor set we've seen from Coker, I think, since the beginning of warm-up.
I think just maybe feeling pretty good, right? Yeah, I'm going to give this a shot here. It's 24-13 and didn't work out, so be it.
It was interesting earlier, and you mentioned it on the broadcast when Coach Dave Preston got really excited on a play. And I watched similar plays afterwards, and he didn't get excited. I honestly think it was because Alex Elliott got that big dig, and it's his last weekend playing here at the Burge, and it means a lot to him, and as a senior and the rest of the team, as we see Trevor Coates up there get a big block, and he makes his mark for the first time in this match.
So a couple points here late for Waterloo. You wonder if it's going to have any impact going forward or not, if they can take some of this into the third sets and potentially beyond if they're able to win that one. But still a healthy lead for McMaster, and they finish it off there with that kill from Marr. Both sets so far, 25-15 for McMaster, and they're looking pretty strong. It's going to be a pretty serious mountain to climb here now for Waterloo.
Yeah, and Jared, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Waterloo's going to come out strong. Okay. I'm going to say that in their mind, I think they actually are believing right now that they just played with Mac in the last 10 points, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
And if they can come out and realize, hey, this is it. This is everything. Right now, one set, let's put it together. And they started to have a much better connection, especially on the outside. I liked a little bit of a faster set that I saw coming. They transitioned some balls closer to the net. Didn't have a lot of difficulty with connection in the middle because they didn't use it. But I predict that they're going to come out strong in the next set.
Okay, that's a great point. We're going to send it over to Amanda Weldon with some information here about the two teams.
Yeah, we're definitely thinking right now, what can Waterloo to capitalize on this team? When you have a team as strong as the #1 ranked CIS team here, as we're seeing McMaster is playing lights out right now, you really can't give them an inch. As for the libero side, on the Waterloo side, Eric Woolley has really been playing as well as he can. He is playing with a slight injury. It's great to see this guy is one of the top liberos in the OUA. Both teams having a lot to give from the OUA right now, but McMaster is absolutely capitalizing. As for the McMaster side, it's fabulous to see Brendan Koppers back out in action. He is #2 outside for McMaster right now. He came off of an injury, had 2 weeks to practice up, and he has absolutely been playing like he had never had that injury before. So great to see him back on the court. If Andrew Kogar can keep feeding his outsides and spreading it around, I think we're going to see some more success from this McMaster side. I'm Amanda Weldon, back to you in the front desk.
So the journey to nationals here for McMaster, they were 18-2 in the OUA. undefeated in the Final Four. OUA gold medalists. They defeated Waterloo, this same Waterloo team, in the OUA semifinal, then beat Ryerson 3 straight in the final. They have 3 All-Canadians on the team: Stephen Marr, Andrew Coker, and Danny Demyanenko, and they are also the host for the 50th CIS Championship. So they knew right away that they were moving on. They just didn't know what seed they are, but they come in here this weekend as the #1 team. As for Waterloo, they were 11-9 in the OUA. They finished 5th in the OUA, beat #4 seed Toronto in the quarterfinal 3-1, lost to McMaster 3-0 in the Final Four semi, and came back to beat the 2nd seed Queens in a tight game 3-2 to win bronze and claim that final CIS spot. A couple highlights here from the 2nd set. And we see here a nice swing on the left side, and Woolley showing some of that athleticism there for Waterloo. But it was McMaster who was just too strong so far. Winning the first set 25-15, and again taking the second 25-15. But Dan Gilbert, the professor, made his prediction here. He's thinking that Waterloo feeling good about the way those last 10 points or so transpired, and that this 3rd set they're going to come out and play their best set so far the night, Dan.
Yeah, I feel it. I sense it. Even though, you know, it'd be real, I think it's at this point, it'd be easy for Mac to close it out and keep on playing at the level that they're playing. I think there's going to be a little bit more resistance from Waterloo. And like I said, I just like the way that at the end there they had a little bit more comfort running a faster ball to the outside. And I haven't seen them all year to know whether or not that's part of their offense, but it was a noticeable difference as they went through this match.
That's definitely an identifier of Waterloo Volleyball and Shane White's influence of running that fast offense. And we see that quick pipe set there to Aiden Simone, and he almost finds that corner, and that's exactly the type of pace that they want to be running at. I think earlier in the match, we're just seeing that serve receive break down for the Warriors, but as you know, Woolley and the Simones kind of set in here in the 3rd set, they got nothing to lose. Go out, play as hard as you can. If you lose, you lose, and if you win, then you shock the world.
Yeah, I think at this point now, down 2 sets to none, if they were to come back on this game in 5, that certainly would be the way I'd call it, is shock the world, as McMaster has been really quite impressive so far through 2 sets. But Waterloo battling hard here as Cope gets a kill, and we're now tied up at 1.
It's interesting to watch Mac play defense. There are very few clean kills for the Warriors. They get a touch on everything, they scramble everything. Just a team that works super hard on defense, and when you've got the trees that you do on the outside that they have, that's rare to see.
Got a slight delay here, just cleaning up the floor. Hey, we haven't had a scorekeeping delay in quite a while.
We haven't. It's because Brad stepped in beside us. That's why. You know, Ed Yu was in there before, and as much as I like Ed, he is an Ottawa boy, so I like to give him a hard time. And he, you know, I don't know if he was having some problems, but Brad stepped in, solidified everything, and he's got it done.
Brad's got it on lockdown down there.
If you guys are wondering who Brad is, he's the silver fox sitting on the table beside us.
We're making Brad's night here. Are we up? Brad, we're on commission for this, right? Jejewski with the pass to go back row to Koppers, and that finds the sideline.
You know, and you see Gibson Graham there just playing some hope volleyball, hoping that it's out rather than making sure of it. Those points are going to cost you in the long run.
Now it's early in this 3rd set, but I think we're definitely not seeing the same MAC team. The energy's not there, the connection's not there, so they need to step it up on their side of the court if they're going to come away with this 3rd set.
Simone, good swing, one of his best of the night actually, finds the deep corner, side out Waterloo.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play for Waterloo there, even though the pass is a little bit off the net. Just a nice quick set, still at isolation.
And that's
sorry, Everett.
No, that's what you're gonna have to do when you have to get around these McMaster middles, right? They're super fast. You're gonna have to push it fast, and finally they have the ball control to be able to do it.
Coker goes bump set to Murray, just gonna put it over the net. Free ball coming here for Waterloo. Quickly outside to Simone, off the block of Marr, and Waterloo, it's like Dan Gilbert was onto something here. They picked up some good points in the last part of that 2nd set, and now, I mean, it's only 4-2, but this is one of their only leads of the game to this point, right? And it has to start somewhere. You got to build from something, and see if they can sustain it here though for a whole set. Marr, nice pass. Coker goes outside to McCarthy, and McCarthy cross court gets around Woolley, unable to come up with the dig. Side out Mac. Marr goes back to serve.
No, knowing Eric Woolley and watching his reaction right now, that's a ball he wants back. That's a ball he digs probably 8 out of 10 times.
Mar with the serve. His team trailing by 1. 4-3 is the score for Waterloo in this third set. Goes after that one. Ball comes back on the McMaster side. Pipe to Mar. Woolley with the dig. Gibson off the net, bumps it outside to Simone. And Simone uses that big block of McCarthy to his advantage into the crowd. 5-3 Waterloo.
And it's interesting, we praise some of the creativeness on offense and some of the forces throughout the first couple sets, but now you're watching and sometimes you're thinking in your head, maybe they need to go back to be a little bit more simple.
Yeah. How quickly things can change in this sport. Koppers pass goes outside, they go right back to him. Off the head of McConkey. Side out, McMaster. Elliott now back to serve. Demyanenko checks back into the front row. Again, got to bring attention to DJ Jukebox. He's been here all day, just like us. He's been up in the DJ booth there, playing songs between every point, doing a real good job here, keeping the crowd entertained and energized. As Demyanenko puts that overpass down.
You know, I don't know of many CIS gyms that have a dedicated booth like DJ Jukebox has. It's even, glass case instead of, Aaron Balls, I guess, but yeah, has his own post up there with a sign and everything.
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah.
But not to mention, he's here for regular season games, he's here for playoff games, he's here all the time.
I think the only thing Dan and I would change, we need to hear more from the Rocky 3 soundtrack. Right, Dan? That's the key here to success. Is one of our favorites in between sets back in the day when we were coaching at Manitoba. A big-time stuff block there from Danny Demyanenko and Jason McCarthy. And we're seeing a bit more of that emotion kind of come back now here a little bit for Mac.
Yeah, Jared, when Saskatchewan forced that fifth set, I was waiting for it. It didn't come.
Yeah, it's a great tune. DJ Jukebox did an awesome job, but if you'll take the suggestion, maybe we'll talk to him after the game and say, hey, this is a real good hype song for a fifth set.
Another good one is Under Pressure by Queen. And I know the DJ of the AVP tour, DJ Roche down in the States, he likes the Under Pressure one.
Well, and we lost David Bowie earlier this year. It would only be fitting to maybe give him a little tribute at the National Championships. 8-5. So much for that good early start there from Waterloo. Mac has kind of just snuck this lead right back here. On a 6-2 run right now to lead by 3. We have the McMaster block on the net. Side out for Waterloo. I think it was going to be a kill anyway, so it didn't really matter. That's one of the ones, if you're taking stats on the bench, the Waterloo guy, make sure you give that guy your kill there. He earned it.
I was always that guy because I was always on the bench.
I don't think with technology now, we don't even really have to worry about that kind of stuff anymore.
Nope.
Again, bring up the pencils, bring up the clipboards, make sure we got everything for the guys on the bench. Those days have gone by the wayside, yeah.
And once again, we're seeing Coker kind of get back into this rhythm with the creative setting, pulling away and setting up Demyanenko in the middle.
Back row to Coke. Miss hit, goes long. 10-6 now, McMaster, and Waterloo came out. Again, it was only 6 points. It's just the beginning. They came out. They were taking it to Mac a little bit. They're hitting the ball. They're being aggressive, having some energy, and now just a couple points don't go their way, and they're pulling back a little bit. And this is really obviously no time to pull back. As McCarthy unleashes on that serve, not much that Simone can do. 11-6, we're going to see a timeout now from Coach Chris Lawson, sensing maybe that his team is.
Well, Dan, I mean, your prediction was right off the bat. It just didn't last all that long as Waterloo came out firing. They came out going for it. Their offense is running fast, and all of a sudden Mac cranks the pressure up a little bit, and the ball control wasn't there.
And I think we go back to what we talked about before with a strong team like Mac. You got to keep it within 2 or 3. As soon as they extend that lead any more than that, it's so tough. You put so much pressure on your reception game to try and side out against a great serve, block, and defending team, right? So I think they've got another chance here. Come out of the timeout, pass the ball well enough to run something past the outside. They haven't had to use their middles or force their middle to be successful. So don't try and do that. Just keep going with the faster outside ball, and hopefully they can bring themselves back into this set.
11-6 is the score as the teams head back to the court. McCarthy with the serve. I think the really fun thing about this match, though, is that this is kind of just like the beginning, right? And we have so much good volleyball still ahead of us. And this place is going to keep getting busier and busier as this weekend goes through. And leading all to fever pitch on Saturday night. The place is almost sold out for that gold medal match.
Oh, and it'll be packed to the brim, especially if McMaster can finish this one off here and take that match tomorrow night as well.
Coker goes pipe to Marr, rattles around the block of Waterloo. They were on it, just couldn't get enough to get it back out of the McMaster side. And a nice dynamic run there to Marr to the back row. Now it'll be Koppers going back to serve. And, you know, I don't think, from what I've seen here, I don't really see any too much ill effects from Koppers and Elliott, right? I mean, they look to be pretty healthy. Maybe, you know, we saw a little bit in the first set. Koppers maybe working his way back into the game flow, but they look good.
Yeah, and you know what else looked good is that big block there from Andrew Coker. But yeah, you're right. You know, I spoke to Brendan Koppers after last week's match, and you know, I was like, Koppers, are you good? You know, tell me the truth. And he goes, no, you know, I'm good to go. I could have played tonight. I could have played yesterday, but you know, I just want to give it that one extra week to get fully ready. So, you know, I think we've seen tonight he's good to go, and he'll be good to go again tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think obviously having previously booked your ticket for nationals, it changes the dynamic of those matches, and with so much depth that they have, you can make some of those decisions, right? You don't have to rush it as much. And if those games, if they had to win those games last weekend to qualify here this weekend, then maybe things would have been a little bit different. But watching them practice and watching them play here, they look pretty good. As Simone's dug up there by McCarthy. Coker finds McCarthy in the middle, just tips it over. Simone with the dig. Gibson outside to Coke. And Marr's going to want that one back, but Coker also on the net. Because Waterloo doesn't get 2 points for that, though, right? The old.
Imagine that's the way it worked. Volleyball would be changed.
Oh man, volleyball would be something. That's for sure. I don't know what it would be, but it's like an end one in basketball, right? Like you skip the kill and they're on the net. Sort of, I guess.
I once drove to a World League match with a freelance writer who thought he knew volleyball, and he said that when it, you know, he was like, if a team's down by a lot, you should be allowed to like opt for a 3-point serve or something.
Just changing the game, one suggestion at a time, man.
Wow. And I'm pretty sure our camera guys did a great job there at getting the Stephen Marr reaction, because he came down and he may have burst a vein in that celebration.
That's a pretty good shot. Reason to be excited. 15-8. We're 1 point away from the technical timeout here. Demyanenko with the serve. Taken there by Wolde. Might have been long, but play continues. Simone left side off the block of Coker and down.
And you know, the advantages of Waterloo running it that fast is that you're not hitting at the height of where their hands are. You're hitting at their elbows. You're hitting at their forearms. So it's really hard for the blockers to get a press on that ball and get the block. And that's exactly what we saw in that play.
And I think it's a great decision by this Waterloo coaching staff and this team. I mean, they don't have the huge guys. You have to try to level the playing field a little bit, right? With that speed, it brings these guys back into the same level of attack now.
And the key to it is that you just need to be physical enough, or at least fast enough on the outside that you can hopefully catch up to them, cut a lot of them cross court by the one-on-one. But if not, you do like they've been doing, and just hit that low line shot, and you get a good deflection a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worked to their advantage. Just that'll work the Max advantage, actually, is
that a cannon?
Hard one-on-one.
The way he hits the ball and it contacts, you know, someone check the Mikasa. We might need a few more for this tournament because I feel like he's going to break one.
16-10, McMaster leads. And we're going to quickly take a look at the coaches here in this match. Dave Preston here with McMaster. This is his 14th season. Led the team to the OUA title in the past 4 seasons. Total coaching record in the OUA, 225 and 74. And his past 3 seasons, 67 and 6. He was the OUA and CIS Coach of the Year in 2015, 2013, and 2008. On the other side of the net with the Waterloo Warriors, Chris Lawson, 8 seasons with the team. Led the team to 5 straight OUA Final Fours. This is his 2nd straight CIS National Championship, 98 and 62 regular season record. And he led Waterloo to the OUA playoffs, and every year he's been with the team. Coach with Team Canada, Team Ontario on the Ontario Summer Games, was also the OUA Coach of the Year in 2013-2014. So lots of experience on both sides of the net. In speaking with them, I know Dave very well for a long time, but getting to speak with Chris this year, they really have a good handle on where their teams are at. And, you know, obviously can't be too happy right now if you're Waterloo in the situation they're in. But the season they've had, battling through a lot of adversity, this Waterloo team, you really got to give them their credit to be here in this tournament this weekend.
Absolutely, and you take that one step further and you look at the roster, you look at the eligibility, there's only 1 5 on that roster, and that's Eric Woolley, and yes, that's a huge spot, but there's no 4s on that roster either, right? So you've got a team made up of strictly first, second, and third year guys, and this is the way you've gone to a national championship now 2 years in a row. They're building towards something at Waterloo, and even though the result might not be there tonight, I mean, great to see. There could be much more volleyball left tonight, but if things don't work out for them tonight, there's a very, very bright future for the Waterloo Warriors.
An interesting thing for us, thinking big picture here, guys, is how the burst will set up next year with nationals in Alberta, right? And obviously Canada West will have the 1 spot for the host Alberta, who you'd think, you never know, but you'd think would be there as a team anyways, right? Then you have their 1 berth. Now, with 3 Canada West teams already qualifying, right, you think Canada West is probably going to have 4 spots next year at Nationals. You'll probably have 2 for Ontario, and then you'll have 1 for Quebec and 1 for Atlantic. And that'll make things, you know, it's an interesting situation as, you know, year to year, you know, how many bursts go to your conference and how that affects your season and what you're doing there. As we have a good rally here. McCarthy a couple tips, they've shut the door, and then it's Koppers off the block and out. I see it's a very interesting post-point reaction from this McMaster team, and they're putting a lot of energy into that, and you just wonder, can you sustain that for 3 days when the games start getting harder and harder? And it's great. I love to see that emotion, but you know, that starts to take a toll on you after a while when there's so much coming out at every single point.
Absolutely.
The other thing to consider when you have that emotional response is that you tend to start to rely on that for energy in your team. And will they have as many big plays against a tougher opponent where they can really celebrate like that, you know, or are they going to have to rely on some plays that maybe don't appear as big when you're not hitting the ball on the attack line, when you're not, you know, crushing balls, and you know, you can't really rely on that always for your energy. So that'd be interesting as they progress through this weekend. Can they still find that energy with maybe a different style of play that's required to beat some other opponents?
And I think, to be totally fair to this team, they've been really, really good tonight. And this is something we're now here at this point in time, 1913. We're just trying to analyze them going forward, right? And curious to see how they get through this tournament, because the last couple years, Mac has been sort of the team to beat. Going into the tournament, everyone's, you know, this has been their tournament. And now here at home, number 1 seed, I think a draw they probably feel pretty good about, right? Alberta and Trinity Western on the other side of the draw. It's curious to see how they get through this tournament. Can they make it to the final? Can they take that step in the 50th anniversary of the CIS National Championships at home? Can they break that goose egg and win a title for the OUA?
Quick trivia here. Last team to win an OUA title a CIS title from the OUA is?
A last CIS title for the OUA?
Yes.
That's a good question.
You have to go back all the way to the 70s and the University of Ottawa.
So a program that no longer exists is the last team to win, the last OUA team, and that's the only one, I believe,
and that's
correct?
the only one, yes.
So they're 1 in 49 years, but now their chances look pretty good this year, the way that McMaster has played so far tonight and all season long, really.
And you have to wonder if they feel like they're owed one at this point. You go back to 2013, you know, they make it to the finals and they hit the wall that was set up out of Uzeal and their 7th man there. And you go back to the next year, you know, in 2014 in Calgary and that huge breakdown against Westerns in the semifinals. You go back to last year in Saskatchewan, and they lose a very lackluster match against Trinity Western in the semifinals. So they felt like they've deserved to be in that gold medal match and deserved that gold medal for the past few years, and now they're at home, and you've kind of seen the accumulation of this team, and can they get the job done now?
Just all lean towards tomorrow and Saturday being fantastic days of volleyball, but luckily for us, on what has been quarterfinal Thursday, we've been treated to some really fantastic action. And again, if we're just evaluating on what we've seen here today, I don't know if anybody's looked better than Mac from what we've seen here. Alberta was quite impressive, but Mac has also been equal to the challenge.
Absolutely. I think we've got potentially four teams. Don't want to, put all your eggs in one basket, but with an 8-point lead here in the third set and the way we've been playing, I don't think Mac is getting ready to lose this one. You know what? I think we've got 4 very good teams moving on, and it's really going to be exciting to watch what goes on tomorrow.
Down the line, Simone, and some good defense shown there by Max, scrambling to try to keep that play alive. It was Koppers with the pancake, came off the net, but it is Waterloo who takes that point. Let's see if they can get over that 15-point barrier. They lost the first 2 sets 25-15. Let's see if they can try to make this thing interesting here. As going back to serve is the setter, Gibson Graham. McCarthy out of the back row. And again, those are good shots that Waterloo just can't stop. That they just don't have the personnel to defend that shot. That's coming off the bench again is Andrew Richards. Oh, the Mac fans got the brooms in the crowd. They were prepared for this 3 straight. So off the bench here, 23-15, Andrew Richards goes after that one. Passed up there by Simone. Middle to Kothap. And that finds the floor, 23-16.
You know, in terms of experience, to have a guy coming off the bench who, you know, just played the summer for the junior national team, you know, has competed at the Youth Olympic Games in beach volleyball for Canada. That's a huge amount of experience coming on and skill coming off the bench.
Out of rotation. I'm gonna say Coker left early. Yeah.
Yeah. Demyanenko's in full agreement with it there.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think that's just in the wrong spot. But Demyanenko comes right back. No harm done, and now he'll have the chance to serve this match out for the McMaster Marauders. They lead 24-17. The fans are on their feet. And now it's getting real loud in here. This is just the warm-up. This is just what we're getting a taste of come tomorrow night. Big serve there, nice pass by Simone. Free ball coming here for McMaster. See if they can finish this in style. Coker, pipe to Richards, and he goes. Oh, I thought it was off the block. Certainly looked like it got a piece.
There was definitely a touch on that ball that was missed, and too bad for Richards there. He really wanted that coming onto the court here at the end of the set.
24-18, we have a substitution checking in here for Waterloo, number 3.
Nick
Philippe Pichet, another Ottawa product.
Yeah, Philippe Pichet playing for the Ottawa Mavericks. I said Nick Pierna, who was one of his teammates, who now plays at York.
Here we go, Pichet serve, taken by Mara, it's tight. Coker's gonna go up and try to get it, battle with Simone. Free ball coming here for McMaster, see if they run the pipe to Richards again. And they go to it again, and this time he's dug up by Pichet, but it goes into the crowd. And McMaster takes the quarterfinal, 25-18. And a big post-game celebration here for the Marauders. This has got to be an unbelievable feeling for this team, playing at home in front of this crowd in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know what? They've wanted to do this for their fans the entire time. When you come to the Burridge for any game, they're always packed. There's always people going on. You know, you got big heads in the crowd. You got people making signs. The McMaster faithful are always here in numbers, no matter who the opponent, no matter what the night. And we see the student section over our left shoulder over there chanting and dancing and everything like that. And it's only gonna get louder here, guys, over the night. We might have to ask them to bump up the volume on our headphones because I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
And I guess credit to Waterloo for coming out a little bit stronger in this last set, pushing a little bit down the stretch and towards the end. They did have to overcome a lot of adversity this year. A lot of people don't know that they were stripped of a number of wins because of an eligibility issue.
Yep.
So I think they lost 4 wins from the first half of their season. Really had to come out strong in the second half to get rolling and to make it to this point. So good on them for being here and for fighting today. But like you guys said, and we've been saying, this MAC team, they look pretty good today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, tops off to Eric Woolley, who's the player of the game for the Waterloo Warriors. You know, that concludes his season here for the Waterloo Warriors. I mean, I'm sure he'll play tomorrow, but a great season for him, and he's the only 5th player in this team, the only upperclassman on this team in 4th or 5th year, so huge amount of potential for this Waterloo Warriors squad. You know, they're hanging their heads, they're a little disappointed in their effort right now, but I'm sure, you know, a few years down the road when they're competing at their next national championship, they'll be ready to go.
And a good show of respect here for these two teams as they shake hands. Obviously, there's a lot of friendships, a lot of long-standing rivalries, and at the end of the day, there's just a lot of respect in these two teams. They know each other quite well. So Waterloo will drop down to play UNB in the consolation semifinal, and McMaster will advance to play Saskatchewan. So just to quickly set up our matches for tomorrow, it'll be Alberta versus Trinity Western in that first semifinal, then McMaster against Saskatchewan. On the consolation side, we have Ryerson playing against Laval, and then we have UNB and Waterloo. So we're doing 4 games again tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun when everybody gets back in here again. Those 2 semifinals, and those are instant classics, man.
Absolutely.
Alberta and Trinity Western, that's a huge rivalry. And then Saskatchewan's looking to rebound to kind of play a little bit better than he did today against McMaster, the hometown team. So we're going to quickly send it over to Amanda Weldon. I believe she has Andrew Coker with her for a post-game interview.
Yeah, I'm standing here with Andrew Coker, center of the McMaster Marauders. They just won their first game at CIS. Andrew, how does it feel?
It feels great. Playing in front of a home crowd is something that nobody could ever take for granted, and something that's always dreamed of. And I mean, I just can't thank everybody enough for the energy that they brought here, and I hope that they can bring it for the next 2 days. So.
Absolutely. As a setter, you had a really great serve receive there. You had the opportunity to spread out your sets all over the place. Your stats are totally equal. You got Danny Demyanenko, Jay McCarthy, and Stephen Marr hitting almost equally. Can you speak to that? Can you speak to your defense and how they gave you the opportunity to do that?
Honestly, I feel so blessed to have the best passing lineup in the OUA, if not the CIS. And when we pass 3.0 almost every day, it's really easy to run the offense.
And okay, so now you're going up to the next one. What's next?
We play Saskatchewan tomorrow, a great team from out west. They're hot right now, so we're going to bring everything we have, game plan well, and hopefully we can take it and make it to the final.
All right, I'm going to let this guy celebrate. We're going to shoot it back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Amanda. It's a 3-set straight victory here for McMaster, and this concludes day 1. Everett, we were here all day together. Dan, you saw the last 2 games, but what's a quick couple takes, I guess, from today?
You know what? I think we had a great day of volleyball, and typically at the national championships, there's generally like 1 or 2 blowouts. And other than that Laval Alberta match, I think we saw 4 solid matches, well, definitely 3 solid matches. And what I really like to see is those outline teams, like the Ryerson's pushing Trinity Western, the UNB is pushing Saskatchewan. That's where you really start to see the strength of volleyball in the country, and that coast to coast, not only at conference championships, can really push teams and get the job done.
Dan, what's your thoughts for tomorrow? What are you looking forward to here?
Yeah, the energy is going to go up, and you mentioned that earlier, Jared, that this is your first go at it, day 1. Everyone's kind of feeling each other out, the venue out, and everyone ramps it up. And I think as the quality of play rises throughout the weekend, and as that energy level goes up, I think we're going to see some great CIS volleyball tomorrow and on Saturday.
So just for everybody out there watching, we go live tomorrow at 1, consolation semis at 1 and 3 o'clock, then the 2 championship semis 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. We'll be here all day long, cis.sic.tv. It's been a fun first day, and it's just the beginning. Make sure everybody tunes in tomorrow. Have a great night, and we'll see you in, 12 hours?
Something like that, yeah.
We're right back at it. So it's been fun. Have a great night, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.